I'm Dr. Franz, and today I want to spend a few minutes just chatting with you about ADD, ADHD, because I think there's some really interesting things about this condition. Number one, and my very favorite thing to know about it, is that this is not a disease. It is actually, it's not even a disorder. It's the only diagnosis in our whole big book of diagnoses that is not a disease. You could call it a condition if you wish, because it's very inconvenient, and people who have this are often unhappy. But today I want to shed some light on looking at it very differently. So attention deficit disorder, which is typically you just can't focus, or attention deficit hyperactivity, where there's, agitation and lots of movement with it, are the two labels that we use for people who have trouble focusing. But I want you to remember that it's not just not focusing, they can also hyper focus. So I chose this picture of space on purpose because the ADD mind does seem to go in circles, and it's just constantly in motion, and thoughts come to them just like this, but they can also be very laser focused, okay? Very much hyper focused on something that they really like. And that is often the cry of parents who go, how can you know this? I remember one of our children, I go, how can you know 150 facts on each Pokemon card, but you can't memorize your times tables? Well, because the times tables did not interest him, okay? But Pokemon did. So I want all of you with ADD, ADHD to know that I kind of view it like a superpower that you don't know how to control, because your minds are quick and you'd have trouble focusing because there's really not much of a filter. Stuff is just coming in. And I had a mom, we were in our exam room one time, she goes, it's like this. So my child sitting on the table can hear the clock on the wall, the train in the back, the plane overhead, the people next door, the people coming in the building. They can't always filter out external noise. Once you understand how their mind works, it does begin to help. And, anybody with ADD, ADHD is actually, you're very smart. You're very smart. Many of you are geniuses and you don't know it because you've been in a position where people view you as abnormal or troublemaker, when really your mind just works different. And that's okay, because you have a lot of company. Now, your mind does not work well in a classroom for 8 hours a day because you're constantly going. And parents, I also want you to remember that many times your very smart child gets everything the teacher said for the lesson of the day in the first 5 minutes. And now there's 50 more minutes, or however many, where they've gotten it and they're just waiting for everybody else. So what do? Well, they amuse themselves. They can be tapping on the desk, or they can be up and moving, or talking to themselves, or talking to the person next door. So a lot of this is just understanding the behavior. And then we teach new skill sets, because there's nothing wrong with you. And you're quick, and you also often have great senses of humor. And then the other thing I like about this is that you also can see through the shenanigans and malarkey of things. You just see right through it. And, I've seen this so many times, especially in boys. They're like, math, why do I have to show my work? I got the right answer. Well, because the purpose of the exercise was to show your work. Well, that's ridiculous. So there's so much that, and I always understood that. I go, I get it. I totally get it. But this is the structure we have, and you have to work within it. And after you get out, you can change it from within. So I want to just keep telling you, it's like your superpower. And we just got to figure out how to help you use it in the most constructive way. I find that most people with ADD are better outdoors, and they're really good with their hands, because they're also kinesthetic learners, meaning that they learn by using their hands, that the motion gets everything going to the brain. And so these are just little tidbits, and they're great with exercise. intense exercise, and they do better in solo sports than team sports. And the intense exercise raises their stress hormones, raises their endorphins, raises their cortisol, all of the coping hormones. So being outside playing, children with ADD should not be punished by taking away their playtime. And another interesting thing is most people, but especially those with the label ADD, ADHD, they don't respond to punishment. They respond to the carrot. They'll respond to praise and reward. But when you punish, most of them just don't care. You can take away everything and they just don't care. And many times they'll sink into, if you think I'm bad, I'll show you how bad I can be. So we want to work with praise and reward and, setting up positive reinforcement. Things like if you're good in school doing this specific thing 5 days in a row, you get this reward, 4 days this reward, 3 days this reward, 2 days, 1 day, no reward. We'll just try again next week. So there's not shame attached to this issue that they have. And that is so important. Also, families, you need help. Many times, family counseling can be crucial to just help you understand how to relate to a pattern of thinking that you don't have, that you are not familiar with. So getting help, reading books, all of those things can be so important and so amazing. The number one treatment for ADD is neurofeedback because it reprograms the brain. And medication is very often necessary for some children, for some people, but it doesn't fix it. It just manages the symptoms. Neurofeedback can help reprogram the brain for better function. So I hope you've enjoyed this little bit. At the Franz Center, we are really good with ADD, ADHD, and other diagnoses, and we can help in many ways and with a lot of natural options and therapies. So I hope that you've enjoyed this, and we hope to hear from you. You can reach us at thefranzcenter.com. You can also call us at 407-857-8860 or email tellus@thefranzcenter.com. All right. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope this was informative. And one last thing, you can also find classes that I have taught on our site, the Franz Center School, www.thefranzcenter.com, www.school.thefranzcenter.com. Have a great day. We look forward to talking to you soon.